Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. Hosts Melanie Johnson and Jenn Foster are the owners of Elite Online Publishing. They're both Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling authors. We're really glad you're here because this podcast was designed for you. Meet industry experts that share their secrets and strategies. Get successful results for your business in money, relationships, health, and your life. Each episode is going to inspire you to take action towards reaching your greatness.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another great podcast. We want to remind you to subscribe and leave us a comment and share it with your friends. We are going to get started today. If you have been feeling overwhelmed, and who isn't in this economy right now, of what to do to get your financial life in order. I mean, there's just a lot of huge questions, and a lot of it has to do with the mindset. So we are going to dive deep today because we have an expert here. Ken Kladouris is with us today. He has written a book. He is a coach and he is an expert at this. So we're going to dive deep and make you feel comfortable and confident about your financial life in the future. Welcome, Ken. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Melanie and Jenn, for having me. I'm excited to have this discussion today.
Yeah, well, Ken, tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the space you're in today with the coaching.
Yeah. So for the last decade, I'm a financial advisor. So I do have that expertise in wealth management and money. And then in my personal kind of journey, I started to do some personal development and really take my life to the next level. And through that experience, family and friends obviously would ask me like, hey, what are you doing? You seem so different. Can you help me? And so I was teaching them how to meditate and, kind of like the path that I was in the process that I was using. And with that, people in my business environment were asking me. So it seemed like a natural evolution to create a course and let everybody have the experience of creating the life that they want.
I love that. So tell us, part of your plan is, especially from your book, is to identify your goals and make the plan for your ideal life. So walk us through that process of how do we set our goals and plan for our ideal life?
Yeah. Well, whether it's financial goals or just general life goals, I found that most people actually don't know what they want. They know what they don't want, but they don't know clearly what they want. And so taking the time to identify what are your core values? What are the things that bring you happiness and joy? And what do you want to experience in your life? And getting really clear on those things, you can create an actual goal and then start to figure out, okay, what do I need to do to get from where I am today to that ideal life or position, and then start to create a game plan to move forward.
I like that, because if you don't have a plan, you're never going to get there, right? If you don't know your destination, how are you going to get there? I think that's great. How do you find, like I see in your book, it's called Get There, but it's the passion and purpose. So how do you know, like you might have a passion for something, but how do you find that purpose or find that thing that you're really good at, or that purpose that's going to help you move forward to your goal?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a separation between finding your purpose and your passion and like what you do for a career. I think a lot of people think that they have to be one and the same, but your career can finance, right, your passions, and you can find different ways to give back. So again, I think it's just, finding your mental stillness and your clarity to identify what are your core values and what are the things that, again, bring you happiness, and then just starting to do more of those things while at the same time eliminating the things that take away from your happiness or your life, or you just kind of struggle through, and you just slowly start to shift up into that person you want to be.
Yeah, I like that you said that, because I think a lot of times people think like their job has to be their passion or their job has to be their purpose, which I like that you said it doesn't have to be, like you said, right? You said that it has to be together. Have your passion and what you like and what you want to do and what your goals are, and then have the money and the stuff that drives you to that.
Exactly. It's kind of like, I guess if you were like, when I wrote my book, and I'm sure you guys coach the same thing, right? It's like, you don't start with the entire book, right? It's okay, you come up with some ideas, what you want to talk about, and you start to develop those ideas and topics. And as you do that enough, like then you've created an entire book. And it's the same thing in your life, right? You think of goals in each area, you expand them, and next thing you know, your life is what you want. It's your masterpiece.
That's great that you said that because it goes along kind of with my next question. You say your goals are at one day at a time. So many people, I always tell people, you're looking at the whole staircase. You're standing at the bottom of the Empire State Building and you're looking up and you're like, there's no way. And it is the same thing with the book. They're like, I got to write this whole entire book, but go through your process of doing it one day at a time. It seems so refreshing. Then you're not as overwhelmed.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I just kind of share about my book writing experience because for me, obviously being on the finance side, writing isn't one of my strong points, or I used to think that. And so the idea of writing an entire book, I was like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. It's so long. It's so many things. And I just created a habit around it. And I would write every day. So as part of my morning ritual of kind of getting the most important thing done first. And each day I'd write and, fast forward, next thing you know, like there's an entire book there ready to go. And that's how I do all goals. Because again, right, if your financial goal, book, whatever it may be, you have to start somewhere, and it's where you are right now because that's where you're starting from.
I like that because you have the goal in mind, but you don't have to jump to the goal. I mean, we live in that world now where we want it now, but we have to realize that it is a step at a time and you can get there because it will just flow into it, right?
Exactly.
And so give us some tips, like when you're walking through, if I'm a new client, what are some of the first things that you do and ask us to get to the bottom to have that clarity?
Yeah. So I found that really the most impactful thing you need to start to create is mental clarity. And so for me, I teach everybody how to do a primordial sound meditation. And it's a 20-minute practice twice a day. And that's it. And really, you just start to notice how that stillness affects the rest of your day. And then from there, once you've created enough stillness, then we start asking questions like, again, what are your core values? What about that is important to you? And really digging deep into who you are and who you want to be, and then creating a vision statement of the ideal life that you want to live, and then making sure that everything is in alignment so that you can easily move forward in the direction of your goal. Because if you have goals that are in opposite directions or things that are holding you back, you could spend a lot of energy trying to move forward, but at the same time, like you have energy pulling you in another direction. So just creating that alignment is really important.
All right, I got to go back. What is sound meditation?
Yeah, I was just going to say, how do you get started in doing that if you've never meditated? What is sound meditation?
And you don't know what I mean, I guess you can Google what is sound meditation on YouTube, but
yeah, no. So, I mean, it's a primordial sound meditation, and it's part of the practice that I teach. You can go to stillnesstosuccess.com, and we give you your mantra and teach you how to use it and create that mental stillness.
Okay, so it's not a music thing you're listening to in the background that's like Reiki high frequency thing. No. So it's a mantra that you have that you're creating and that you're saying to yourself or focusing on for 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because someone who's never meditated before, it's like, what is a sound meditation? What does that even mean? So I love that. So you actually teach how to do this sound meditation, and then you can get clear. I like how you said you can just be like, you can get in the stillness. Yeah. So I think as entrepreneurs and as busy business owners, we just get in like a fast paced mood or mode, and then it's hard to get into that stillness.
Exactly. And like back when before I started meditating, I was that person, right? That little OCD, stressed about everything, had to control everything, move on to the next thing, right? And I was always busy and like exhausted. And it wasn't until I took the time to step back, create that stillness, that I realized I didn't need to be doing everything that I was doing prior, and that I could be more intentional with what I was doing and create even more success from a place of happiness.
Mm-hmm. So once they get to this place and they start to have clarity, and what's the next step after that?
Yeah, I mean, again, identifying core values, identifying what it is that you truly want, crafting a vision statement that is meaningful to you, that'll create momentum for you to get up every day and actually do the work. And then from there, creating 1-year goals, because I've found that people most of the time on a 1-year goal, they know what they need to do to achieve it. They're just not doing it. So we have them write that out and then create the steps necessary from where they are today to create the success they want in 1 year.
So it's kind of like a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
So you have them write their goals and get the 1 year. Do you do 5 year after that, or you just stay with the 1 year and just focus on that?
I mean, when it's just a specific goal, yeah, it's the 1 year, but the vision statement and the overarching like goals for the entire life are still there.
Right.
But people get overwhelmed when they don't know all the steps, right? And
Mhm.
kind of get analysis paralysis. And then they don't do anything. So
Right.
I
And
found
sometimes
that-
you unfocus on that too, because you
Yeah.
do feel like it is the top of the Empire State Building and you can't
Yeah.
get there because it's so like
Mhm.
far away.
Exactly.
Do you have certain techniques? So many people struggle with fear and anxiety, and that's what holds them back. Do you have certain techniques beyond what we already talked about to help them get past their fear?
Yeah. So we are certified coaches as well, obviously. And on the one-on-one coaching, we work everybody through all of their limiting beliefs and all of their fears to let them go and release them so that they can easily move forward.
Well, that's really good.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times, like I noticed in your book, you say you give yourself permission to have the life you want, which I think a lot of times people think they don't deserve it, or they have some limiting belief that someone told them in their childhood that they could never drive a certain car, or be a certain way, or live on a sailboat, or whatever their dream is,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. I remember when I was early on in my career and had a lot of success, one of my family members actually told me like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. I never thought you'd get this far." And that
Wow.
kind of stuck with me because I was like, I don't really feel like I've gone that far yet, but like everybody else thinks I'm above where they were expecting me to eventually get. And so I had to work on getting rid of that belief so that I could get on to the next level. So I really understand when people say that about family.
Right, because you might have a belief and then they even have a more limited belief and they tell you that, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should be down here, right? By the
Right.
then
Maybe
you
I
gotta
shouldn't be
bump-
playing so big.
Right. Right. It's easy to get into that.
Yeah. And
Right.
it's
So
comfortable.
give us, I mean, you're a financial advisor, so you're helping people with making decisions and what to do with their money. And the economy is so tumultuous right now. What are some key things that once they kind of have this vision of where they want to go, that you're driving people?
Yeah. So on the finance side, right, it's really important not to get emotional. If you watch the news and you see the headlines, it's like, again, they create a lot of fear. But if you know what your goals are and you know like the plan that you have in place is working, right?
Mhm.
It's just stick to the plan and don't get emotional. I mean, that's the whole point of having a financial plan, right? Is to understand what's going on and like what your goal is and just keep moving forward towards your goal.
Do you have to keep pivoting though? I mean, as things change, I mean, all of a sudden there's a war, so the stock market has a crash. All of a sudden, there's, bottlenecks in the supply chain and things are happening so fast in our world now. Do you have to be able to pivot, or do you still kind of stick with the original plan?
Well, I guess it depends. All of those things you just mentioned, if they directly affected your retirement plan, then yes, you'd have to pivot. But if it's just noise, then no. It's like if your plan's in place and it's moving you forward, all of those things don't matter.
Yeah. Because those things will just move and
Yeah.
pivot themselves, right?
Exactly. Like you can't control the stock market. It's going to do what it does every day. So that's why you have to create a plan that uses it and again, reaches your goals
Mhm.
with the least risk possible.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And when you're running a business, what about, there's individual plans, but what about your business success? Do you have certain secrets for people's business success?
Are you referring to like when they sell or like just how they show up to work? So I just want to make sure I answer the
I
question
would say both.
specifically.
Well, since you brought it up, let's do
Yeah.
both. How you show up to work and then how to position yourself to sell.
Yeah. I mean, so for showing up, I think that everything starts with who you are and how you show up, right? And that's
Mhm.
why I've like this self-mastery is really important to me, because if you're leading by example, you need to show up as the best version of yourself
Mhm.
and know what needs to be done. And that all starts with clarity. And then that clarity shows up too when you go to exit your business, because if you have clarity on who you're serving, have better clients, have better contracts, better employees, better engagement, right? The valuation's higher. So it all starts with the individual.
I like that. And just start with yourself and be the best self that you can be. Well, tell us,
Exactly.
Ken, where can people go to find you, get your book, and get more information?
Yeah, you can go to kenkladouris.com. That's KLA, D as in David, OURIS, or stillness2success.com. And we have some free downloads there. So
Great. Well, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate having you on.
thank you, Jen and Melanie. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Remember, if you're looking to become an author, we guarantee all of our authors will become #1 bestsellers. We can help you from start to finish from your book, from just an idea all the way to publishing within 6 months. So we look forward to hearing from you. Hit that submission button and we'll see you next time. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.